Hey folks, welcome back to Stoic Quotes 365. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like someone was really into you? Like there was this undeniable connection, only for them to suddenly pull away or disappear? It's confusing, frustrating, and, let's face it, painful. You replay conversations in your head, wondering what went wrong. Did you say something? Do something? Or was it never about you in the first place? In today's video, we're diving deep into this experience. We're unpacking the hidden psychology behind why people can seem so invested one moment and then completely vanish the next. Here's the kicker. It often has very little to do with you and much more to do with their internal world, their expectations, and even how they perceive relationships in general. Stick with me, folks, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand their behavior, but also how to respond in a way that keeps your power and dignity intact. Now, I know the feeling of being ghosted or ignored can leave you questioning your worth. But let me stop you right there. Your value doesn't depend on someone else's attention or validation. That's a tough pill to swallow, but it's also where your strength lies. In this video, we'll explore how Stoic principles can help you not only navigate these situations, but also grow stronger and more grounded because of them. Here's a quick overview of what we'll cover today. We'll start by looking at the illusion of instant connection, why things that feel too good to be true often are. Then, we'll dive into the nature of modern dating, exploring how societal shifts have created this environment of rapid connections and just as rapid disappearances. After that, we'll talk about how they're watching your response, because, believe it or not, your reaction says more than words ever could. We'll also explore what it means to be whole without their validation, and why this is the foundation for real confidence and resilience. But we're not stopping there. Folks, we'll discuss the value of patience and why rushing things often leads to disappointment. Then we'll talk about shifting your focus from chasing to becoming, a crucial mindset that can transform how you approach relationships. And finally, we'll cover when to walk away, because knowing when to let go is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. Before we dive in, I want to remind you of something important. The insights I share here are designed to empower you, to help you take back control of your emotional and mental well-being. You're not here to chase people who don't see your worth. You're here to become the kind of person who attracts meaningful, lasting connections, and that starts with understanding yourself and your own value. One quick thing before we get started. If you're finding these videos helpful, take a moment to hit that like button. It not only supports the channel, but also helps others discover these insights. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming content. Trust me, folks, you don't want to miss what we've got lined up. Now, back to the topic at hand. If someone has disappeared from your life, it's natural to want answers. But here's the truth. Their behavior often has little to do with you and more to do with their own insecurities, fears, or confusion. Understanding this doesn't excuse their actions, but it does help you stop internalizing them. Instead of asking, "What did I do wrong?" the better question is, "What can I learn from this?" Because every experience, even the painful ones, can be a step toward growth if you approach it with the right mindset. So, are you ready to take that first step? Let's get into it, starting with the illusion of instant connection, why those early sparks can sometimes be misleading, and how to spot the difference between real connection and fleeting attraction. Stick with me, folks, because this is where the transformation begins. Number 1. The illusion of instant connection. All right, folks, let's get into it. Have you ever felt that instant spark with someone? The kind of connection that feels like it was written in the stars. It's exciting, isn't it? You feel seen, understood, like you've known them forever. But then, just as quickly as they entered your life, they seem to vanish. Sound familiar? That, my friends, is the illusion of instant connection, and understanding it is key to navigating relationships with clarity and confidence. Here's the thing, an instant connection can feel magical, but it's not always what it seems. Humans are wired to crave deep bonds, and when we meet someone who shares our energy or mirrors our interests, it's easy to interpret that as something profound. But what's often happening is a mix of chemistry, timing, and unmet emotional needs that create the illusion of a deeper bond. It's not necessarily a lie, but it's not always the whole truth either. Let's break this down. When someone comes into your life and makes you feel special right away, it's intoxicating. They might say all the right things, show interest in everything you do, or even share vulnerabilities that make you feel closer to them. But here's the catch. This kind of connection often happens in the honeymoon phase of getting to know someone, when everything feels effortless and exciting. It's a beautiful stage, but it's not the full story of who they are or how they truly fit into your life. Folks, the illusion of instant connection often stems from projection. When you meet someone who seems perfect, it's easy to project your hopes and desires onto them. You start imagining who they are based on your ideal version, not necessarily the reality. Maybe they laughed at your joke, and suddenly you're thinking, they totally get me. Or they shared a small detail about their life, and you're already imagining how perfectly your stories align. While it feels amazing in the moment, this kind of thinking can blind you to important red flags or mismatches. Now, here's where it gets tricky. People who create this instant connection aren't always doing it consciously. Sometimes, they're simply caught up in the same excitement you are. But other times, they're seeking validation or using charm as a tool to get attention. It's not necessarily malicious, but it can leave you feeling confused or even hurt when their energy shifts and they pull away. So, how do you handle this? First, recognize that instant connection doesn't always equal lasting connection. Real bonds take time to build through shared experiences, mutual respect, and trust. The spark is just the beginning, not the foundation. If you can approach those initial moments of connection with curiosity rather than expectation, you'll be better equipped to navigate them. For example, instead of thinking, this is perfect, they're everything I've been looking for, try shifting your mindset to, this feels great, let's see where it goes. By staying grounded, you allow yourself to enjoy the moment without getting carried away by fantasies. This not only protects your emotions, but also gives you the clarity to see the situation for what it truly is. Let's tie this back to Stoicism, folks. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The illusion of instant connection often feels powerful because we give it power. But when you take a step back and focus on what you can control, your perspective, your reactions, you regain your footing. You stop chasing the high of that initial spark and start focusing on whether this connection aligns with your values and goals. Another key is to pay attention to their actions, not just their words. Are they consistent? Do they follow through on what they say? Instant connections often feel amazing because people say the things you want to hear. But lasting connections are built when those words are backed up by meaningful actions over time. If someone disappears or their behavior changes drastically after that initial spark, it's a sign that the connection might not have been as deep as it seemed. Here's a practical tip for dealing with the illusion of instant connection. Pace yourself. When you feel that spark, give yourself time to process it before diving in headfirst. Keep some parts of your life for yourself, and don't rush to share everything about who you are. Let the relationship unfold naturally. This not only protects your emotional energy, but also gives the other person space to show who they truly are. So, folks, remember this. Instant connection isn't the same as real connection. While it can feel exciting and special, it's just the beginning. By staying grounded and focusing on the reality of the relationship, you can avoid falling into the trap of illusion and build something that lasts. Comment below, I choose real connections. Let's affirm our commitment to deeper, more meaningful bonds. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more insights. Next, we'll explore the nature of modern dating and how it shapes the way people connect and disconnect. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going. Folks. Number 2, the nature of modern dating, folks. Let's take a moment to talk about modern dating. It's a whole new world out there, isn't it? Gone are the days when relationships followed a predictable pattern. In today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world, dating has become more complex, often frustrating, and at times downright confusing. It's not just about meeting someone you connect with anymore. It's about navigating a maze of social expectations, dating apps, and fleeting attention spans. At its core, modern dating is shaped by instant gratification. Think about it. With just a swipe or a click, you can meet someone new, start a conversation, and build a connection in minutes. But here's the thing. When relationships are born out of convenience, they often lack depth. It's like fast food for the soul. Quick, easy, and sometimes satisfying, but rarely nourishing in the long run. This culture of instant results often leads to a phenomenon I call emotional window shopping, where people are constantly looking for the next best thing instead of investing in the person in front of them. One of the biggest challenges in modern dating is paradox of choice. With so many options available, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or hesitant to commit. Imagine standing in front of a buffet with countless dishes. How do you choose just one? This abundance creates a mindset where people fear making the wrong choice, so they keep their options open. And sometimes that means they disappear, not because you're not enough, but because they're stuck in their own cycle of indecision. Let's talk about communication, or the lack thereof. Texting, social media, and DMs have become the primary ways people connect. But these forms of communication often lack depth. A message might go unanswered for hours, leaving you wondering what went wrong, when in reality, the other person might just be distracted by the endless noise of modern life. It's not personal, it's the nature of the world we live in. However, it's hard not to take it personally when someone you connected with seems to drift away without explanation. Modern dating also has a way of highlighting insecurities. Social media often portrays unrealistic standards of love and connection, making people feel like they're falling short if their relationship doesn't look picture perfect. This pressure to be flawless can make people hesitant to open up, leading them to pull away when things start to feel real or vulnerable. The irony? True connection thrives on imperfection and authenticity, things that are increasingly rare in the filtered world of modern relationships. Here's where Stoic wisdom comes into play, folks. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The truth is, modern dating isn't going to change overnight, but your perspective can. Instead of seeing ghosting or fading connections as a reflection of your worth, recognize them as part of the larger pattern of modern relationships. When someone disappears, it's often more about them and their struggles than about you. Understanding this can save you a lot of heartache. Another important element of modern dating is emotional availability, or the lack of it. People often enter the dating world carrying baggage from past relationships or unresolved issues. They might be drawn to the excitement of a new connection, but struggle to fully commit when the initial spark fades. This isn't your responsibility to fix. Your role is to recognize the patterns and decide whether they align with what you want and need in a relationship. So, what can you do? Start by grounding yourself in your own values. Instead of getting caught up in the whirlwind of modern dating, focus on what you bring to the table. Are you seeking validation, or are you looking for something deeper and more meaningful? When you approach dating with clarity and intention, you become less susceptible to the ups and downs of fleeting connections. Also, remember to set boundaries. In a world that thrives on instant gratification, it's okay to slow down and prioritize quality over quantity. If someone isn't willing to meet you halfway, let them go. Modern dating might be chaotic, but you don't have to get swept up in the chaos. Finally, folks, give yourself permission to disconnect when needed. Taking a break from dating apps or social media can help you reset and refocus on what truly matters. When you're not constantly seeking external validation, you make space for genuine connections to find you. Modern dating is a complicated dance, but it doesn't have to define your self-worth. By embracing patience, setting clear boundaries, and staying true to yourself, you can navigate this landscape with confidence and grace. Comment below, "I embrace clarity." Let's affirm our commitment to being intentional in this noisy world. And folks, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more insights on relationships and emotional growth. Next, we'll dive into how your responses shape the connections you build. You don't want to miss this. Number 3, they are watching how you respond. All right, folks, let's dig into something crucial: how you handle yourself when they suddenly pull back. Believe me, they're paying more attention to your response than you might think. When someone goes from being deeply into you to suddenly disappearing, their curiosity doesn't just vanish. They're watching, maybe not physically, but emotionally. They're observing how you respond, even if it feels like they've ghosted you. First, let's talk about emotional control. When someone pulls away, it's natural to feel confused or even panicked. Questions race through your mind. Did I say something wrong? Are they not interested anymore? But here's the thing. Your reaction to their distance is often more telling than what you said or did before. If you chase after them, bombard them with texts, or demand explanations, you're signaling insecurity. And folks, insecurity is the fastest way to turn a spark into a fizzle. Instead, the power lies in staying calm, collected, and confident. Let them see that their distance doesn't unhinge you. Here's where Stoicism comes into play. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In the context of modern relationships, this means focusing on what you can control, your own emotions and actions. You can't control why they pulled back, but you can control how you handle it. Responding with grace and composure is a sign of emotional maturity, and that's incredibly attractive. Let's get practical here. When they disappear, resist the urge to overreact. Instead of texting them multiple times or trying to figure out their every move, step back. Give them space. A simple, light-hearted message like, "Hope you're doing well," can show you're not fazed. But don't push for more if they don't respond right away. Your restraint sends a powerful message. I'm fine whether or not you're here. That kind of confidence is magnetic. Now, let's talk about patience and observation. When someone distances themselves, it's often a test, conscious or subconscious, to see how you'll handle uncertainty. Will you fall apart, or will you show them that your world doesn't revolve around their attention? By maintaining your composure and continuing to focus on your own life, you're demonstrating resilience. They'll notice this, and it may even make them rethink their initial decision to pull away. Your energy speaks volumes, even if you don't say a word. How you carry yourself in the days or weeks after their disappearance will shape their perception of you. Are you still pursuing your passions, spending time with friends, and living your life fully? Or are you sulking, obsessing over their absence, and hoping they'll come back? Trust me, folks, people can sense this energy, even from afar. When you show that your happiness isn't dependent on their presence, you become someone worth coming back to. Here's another layer to this. They're not just watching your actions, they're interpreting them. If you stay silent and composed, they may wonder what's going through your mind. Are you upset? Are you unbothered? This mystery works in your favor. People are drawn to those who don't reveal all their cards at once. By not reacting impulsively, you're keeping them intrigued. Now, let's not forget the importance of self-reflection. Use this time to assess what their disappearance reveals about them and about you. Are they pulling away because they're unsure of what they want? Or is this a pattern of behavior that speaks to their inability to maintain connections? While they're watching you, you should also be evaluating whether their actions align with the kind of relationship you want. Remember, folks, this isn't just about winning someone back. It's about deciding if they're worth having in your life in the first place. Before we wrap up, let me leave you with this thought. Responding to distance with grace doesn't mean you're pretending not to care. It's about prioritizing your peace and showing that you respect yourself enough not to chase after someone who's unsure. When they see that you value your own time and emotional well-being, it creates a sense of admiration and sometimes even regret. That's when they start to question their own actions. Comment below. I stay composed. Let's affirm the strength that comes from emotional control and self-respect. And folks, if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. In the next step, we'll talk about the importance of being whole without their validation. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going. Number 4, being whole without their validation. All right, folks, let's talk about something that hits close to home for so many of us. The idea of being whole without relying on someone else's validation. When someone you cared about pulls away, it's natural to feel the sting of rejection, but here's the truth. Their actions don't define your worth. In fact, the most powerful thing you can do is learn to be complete on your own terms, regardless of how someone else perceives or treats you. Let's be real. Many of us have tied our sense of self-worth to how others respond to us. Maybe it's their compliments, their attention, or just the way they make us feel seen. When that validation is taken away, it can leave us feeling lost, questioning what we did wrong. But folks, that's where Stoic wisdom comes into play. As Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Their validation, or lack thereof, should never hold the key to your sense of self. To be whole without their validation, you need to start by redefining where you derive your self-worth. Ask yourself, what makes me valuable? The answer shouldn't hinge on external factors like someone's approval or affection. Instead, focus on your intrinsic qualities, the things that make you you. Maybe it's your kindness, your resilience, or your passion for growth. When you root your sense of worth in these unshakable traits, you become less dependent on external affirmation. Here's a practical step to help with this. Spend time identifying your core values. These are the principles and qualities that guide your actions and decisions. For example, if you value honesty, integrity, or creativity, focus on living in alignment with those values. When your actions reflect your principles, you'll find a deep sense of fulfillment that doesn't require anyone else's approval. Folks, here's the kicker. When you stop seeking validation from others, you actually become more magnetic. Think about it. People are naturally drawn to those who exude confidence and independence. When you're not chasing someone's approval, you radiate a sense of self-assurance that's incredibly attractive. It shows that you value yourself enough to stand tall, whether they're with you or not. Another key to being whole is cultivating a life that fulfills you outside of relationships. Take a moment to think about what brings you joy, what fuels your curiosity, and what makes you feel alive. Is it a creative hobby, a fitness routine, or exploring new places? Dive into those passions and create a life so rich and fulfilling that someone else's presence becomes a bonus, not a necessity. And folks, let's not forget the importance of self-compassion. When someone pulls away, it's easy to fall into the trap of self-blame, but that only deepens the wound. Instead, treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a friend. Remind yourself that their decision to leave isn't necessarily a reflection of your worth. It's often a reflection of where they are in their own journey. Here's a little exercise for you. Each day, write down one thing you appreciate about yourself. It could be something you accomplished, a quality you admire, or a way you handled a situation with grace. Over time, this practice builds a reservoir of self-validation that becomes your foundation. Now, let's address something important. Being whole without validation doesn't mean shutting people out or refusing to care about their opinions. It's about balance. You can value someone's input or appreciate their affection without making it the cornerstone of your self-esteem. When you're whole, you can give and receive love freely without feeling like your identity depends on it. As we wrap up this step, folks, I want to leave you with this thought. The most powerful version of you is the one who knows their worth and doesn't need anyone else to confirm it. When you embrace this mindset, you'll not only find peace, but also discover that the right people will be drawn to you for who you are, not because they feel you need them, but because they admire your strength and independence. Comment below, "I am whole as I am." Let's affirm this together, folks. And if you've found value in this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Up next, we'll talk about the value of patience and why taking your time is often the best move you can make. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going. Number 5, the value of patience. All right, folks, let's take a moment to talk about something that can feel incredibly hard in the moment, but pays off in ways you might not expect. Patience. When someone seems into you and then pulls away, it's natural to feel anxious or even frustrated. The temptation to chase after them or seek instant clarity can be overwhelming. But let me tell you, true strength lies in your ability to wait, to let things unfold naturally, and to resist the urge to act out of desperation. Patience is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. In the context of relationships, patience is about giving space for connection to grow at its own pace. When you're patient, you show emotional maturity, self-control, and confidence, qualities that are not only attractive, but also essential for building meaningful bonds. Think about it. Would you rather be someone who reacts impulsively or someone who stays grounded and lets the situation develop naturally? The truth is, in modern relationships, many people struggle with patience because we're used to instant gratification. Whether it's social media, texting, or even dating apps, we've been conditioned to expect quick responses and immediate results. But here's the thing, real connections don't work that way. They take time, effort, and, yes, Patience. Rushing things often leads to misunderstandings or even pushing the other person further away. Now, here's a little Stoic wisdom to guide us. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Patience starts with controlling your mind, not trying to control the actions of others. Instead of obsessing over why they've pulled away or when they'll come back, focus on what you can control: your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. One way to cultivate patience is by shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing their distance as a rejection, think of it as an opportunity to reflect on what you truly want and need. Use this time to invest in yourself, your hobbies, your goals, and your personal growth. When you redirect your energy toward becoming the best version of yourself, you're not only enhancing your life, but also showing them that you're someone worth their time and attention. Another key aspect of patience is learning to embrace uncertainty. Relationships are rarely straightforward, and that's okay. When you let go of the need for immediate answers or guarantees, you free yourself from unnecessary stress. This doesn't mean you're passive. It means you're secure enough to let things evolve naturally. Trust me, folks, when you approach relationships with this mindset, it's incredibly empowering. Patience also requires setting boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. For example, if you feel tempted to text them repeatedly or analyze their every move, remind yourself of the bigger picture. Ask yourself, am I acting out of confidence or insecurity? If it's the latter, take a step back. The value of patience lies in its ability to keep you centered, even when emotions run high. Let's not forget, folks, that patience isn't about waiting forever or tolerating bad behavior. It's about giving the situation enough time to reveal its true nature. Sometimes, patience will show you that the connection is worth pursuing. Other times, it will help you see that it's time to move on. Either way, you come out stronger, wiser, and more self-assured. Here's a practical tip. Whenever you feel impatience creeping in, try practicing mindfulness. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that time is your ally, not your enemy. Write down 3 things you're grateful for in the moment, things that have nothing to do with the other person. This simple exercise shifts your focus from what you're waiting for to what you already have, grounding you in the present. So folks, let me leave you with this thought. Patience isn't just a virtue, it's a superpower in today's fast-paced world. When you're patient, you're not chasing after anyone or anything. You're allowing things to flow naturally, showing that you're confident enough to let the right connections come to you. And trust me, that's the kind of energy that draws people in and keeps them hooked. Comment below, I embrace patience. Let's remind ourselves of the strength that comes with staying grounded and intentional. And folks, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more insights like this. Next, we'll explore how to focus on becoming your best self instead of chasing others. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going, folks. Number 6, focus on becoming, not chasing. All right, folks. Let's talk about something that's often overlooked in relationships, but is absolutely crucial. Focusing on becoming rather than chasing. When someone pulls away or disappears, our first instinct might be to chase after them, to win them back, or to figure out what went wrong. But here's the truth. Chasing rarely works. In fact, it often pushes people further away. The real power lies in shifting your focus inward, on who you're becoming, not who you're pursuing. Think about it. When you chase after someone, you're putting them in the driver's seat of your emotions. You're essentially saying, my happiness depends on your approval or presence in my life. That's a heavy weight to put on anyone, and it often comes across as needy or desperate. two things that can quickly kill attraction. On the other hand, when you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, you're reclaiming your power. You're saying, I value myself enough to invest in my growth, whether you're here or not. Focusing on becoming is about turning inward and asking yourself, who am I when I'm at my best? What kind of person do I want to be, regardless of who is or isn't in my life? This shift isn't just about improving yourself to attract others. It's about building a foundation of confidence, self-respect, and purpose that makes you magnetic in every area of your life. When you operate from this place of self-assurance, people naturally gravitate toward you. Now, let's be real, this isn't always easy. When someone you care about pulls away, it's natural to feel a sense of loss or urgency to fix things. But here's the Stoic perspective, folks. As Epictetus said, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. Instead of reacting out of fear or insecurity, use this as an opportunity to focus on what you can control, your growth, your mindset, and your actions. One powerful way to focus on becoming is to set goals that align with your values. These could be personal, professional, or even relational. For example, if you value creativity, take up a project or hobby that excites you. If you value health, commit to a fitness routine that makes you feel strong and energized. When you're actively working towards something meaningful, you're not only improving yourself, you're creating a life that's fulfilling and inspiring, with or without them. Another important aspect of becoming is practicing emotional resilience. This means learning to sit with discomfort, whether it's the sting of rejection or the uncertainty of where you stand with someone. Instead of chasing them for answers or reassurance, allow yourself to process these feelings and grow through them. Resilience isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about acknowledging them and using them as fuel for growth. Folks, here's where it gets really interesting. When you stop chasing and start becoming, something shifts in the dynamic. Instead of trying to prove your worth to someone else, you're embodying it. You're showing through your actions and energy that you value yourself, and that's incredibly attractive. People are drawn to those who know their worth and aren't afraid to stand in it. Let me give you a practical tip. The next time you feel the urge to chase after someone, whether it's through a text, a call, or even just obsessing over them in your thoughts, pause and ask yourself, what can I do for myself right now that aligns with the person I want to become? Maybe it's going for a run, reading a book that inspires you, or reaching out to a friend who uplifts you. These small actions reinforce the mindset that your growth and happiness come first. Focusing on becoming doesn't mean you stop caring about others. It means you recognize that the strongest connections come from a place of mutual respect and alignment, not from chasing or convincing. When you prioritize your growth, you create a life that's so fulfilling and exciting that others will want to be part of it. Not because you're chasing them, but because you're inspiring them. Comment below, I focus on becoming. Let's affirm our commitment to growth and self-respect, folks. And if this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. Up next, we'll talk about knowing when to walk away, a lesson you don't want to miss. Let's keep going. Number 7, when to walk away. All right, folks, let's talk about one of the hardest but most empowering steps in any relationship, knowing when it's time to walk away. It's a moment we all dread, yet it holds the key to protecting your peace, self-worth, and emotional well-being. Sometimes, the most stoic, powerful thing you can do is step back, not because you've given up, but because you've recognized that staying would cost you more than it's worth. Walking away doesn't mean you didn't care, and it certainly doesn't mean you're weak. In fact, it's the opposite. It's an act of strength, a declaration that your self-respect is non-negotiable. When someone's actions or lack of consistency show you that they're not valuing your presence, your time, or your effort, the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to let go. It's not about punishing them or making a dramatic exit. It's about reclaiming your energy and redirecting it toward people and pursuits that honor you. Here's the thing, folks. Walking away doesn't always have to be permanent. Sometimes it's about creating space. Space for them to realize what they've lost, or for you to gain clarity about what you truly deserve. By stepping away, you give both yourself and them the opportunity to reflect. And if they don't make the effort to come back or make things right, you've already saved yourself from investing further in someone who wasn't truly in it for the long haul. It's important to recognize the signs that it's time to move on. If their actions don't match their words, if you're constantly second-guessing their intentions, or if you feel like you're the only one trying to make things work, those are red flags that shouldn't be ignored. Relationships should feel reciprocal, not like a constant uphill battle. Respect yourself enough to let go when you see that balance isn't there. As the Stoics remind us, our power lies in what we can control, our actions, our choices, and our boundaries. You can't force someone to value you, but you can choose to value yourself enough to walk away when they don't. That's not giving up. That's wisdom. Remember this, folks. Walking away isn't an ending. It's a beginning. It's a step toward the life and relationships you truly deserve. And when you walk away for the right reasons, you're not losing anything. You're gaining clarity, peace, and the freedom to find someone who genuinely values you for who you are. Thanks for sticking with me today, folks. Remember, understanding why someone's behavior changes isn't about blaming yourself. It's about learning, growing, and staying true to who you are. When you approach relationships with confidence and clarity, you're building something that lasts. If this video gave you a fresh perspective, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care, stay strong, and keep growing. You've got this.